Good afternoon to our Crusader SEN training seminar with Mark from Smart, and we hope that you enjoy this session, and it will be available on our blog very shortly for you to review. And if you should have any questions, then please do let us know. Mark, can I hand over to you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thanks very much for that introduction. And yeah, thanks to Crusader for kind of hosting me and Smart as well. So we're kind of spend a bit of time this afternoon just having a look at, well, as it says, kind of says here, why Smart, but very much based on how does that support the needs of your learners, whatever the needs of those learners are. Obviously, they are hugely diverse in all classrooms, but actually to be making sure that your choice of technology, your choice of way of educating those children is right for them, and right for them by design, not just a kind of bolt-on thought about afterwards as well. And that's really kind of where we're going to have a look at this afternoon, all on a smartboard. So I'm standing here kind of in front of the smartboard here. I have got my iPad as well, which is linked, so it can be sent out to students, learners as well. I'll come to that in a minute. Just looking at these lots of things, really easy to kind of place out to the students and actually have them engaging for it. The fact that if they want to come up and just write on any of things, just pick up a pen and don't go for it. Moving those objects around and writing on them, that the smartboard knows what's touching it, so that learning curve for you is kept to a minimal as well. So just kind of jumping through a few bits and pieces here. Like I said, it's that by design. How can Smart have a product? How can we use an interactive whiteboard that is by design made for your learners? And that's something really key to my heart as well, being neurodiverse, being dyslexic. The fact that something like this is really important, having the off-white background screen, having sound on it, having bits and pieces like that is so key to it. So, starting with a bit of a question. Not many people learn the same. Each person tends to learn differently, and making it, like I said, by design, so that even those students that aren't diagnosed with anything maybe formally, it's still supporting them as well. Like the off-white, like this particular font here, the Open Dyslexic, just routing it down so it's easier to kind of have a baseline to read on there as well. So that is something really key. This is kind of me growing up, learning, and this is kind of reading that I can focus on one word at a time. So actually having that, using that font, the Open Dyslexic, which is available in Lumia and available on the board, having that on there means that something like that just routes it down. It's easier to read, a bit like the overlays. I can put a colored overlay on the screen, and it just makes it easier for me to read. And hey presto, for any others as well. Something else that makes it easier is just something really simple as pinch to zoom. But actually I can have that as a teacher and pinch to zoom and make these objects larger here. But actually, how does that still support the learners that are where they are in the classroom? So with this one here, what I've done using the board itself, clicking on this person, the students have scanned the QR code. It's now on the iPads, and that can be iPads, Chromebooks. They can be in wherever they need to be. It is just a website, if you like, so that they can join remotely. They can join from other rooms. And then on here, it means that, yes, the teachers might be, let's go back and make that really small, but then the learners here, they can actually make theirs the size that they need. Then each learner can actually see that, zoom in on any of these things here. Actually, with this one here, I'm not going to press play on the audio, but I've actually attached audio to that as well. Oops, which I did. So then the learner can have that read to them, have that the size that they want, and that's not going to impact anybody else. So by design, that has been included in the Smart products for learners to kind of access the content, as well as immersive reader. So I'll just keep it on the iPad at the moment. The side, there's immersive reader. So then I can click on one of these paragraphs here and then have it. Immersive reader is a Microsoft product. It can be then on here. So then I can click on here, see that it gives the visual clues to each of it. I can change the background color to be something more appropriate for whatever learner, even down to the fact here that I can then translate it. Let's just go to Chinese as an example, just because I scrolled down that far, and then we can have that in Chinese and then translate it back to the original as well. So all of this color semantics as well, own that one as well. So all of that, like I said, is just included in the Smart products. by design. And that is just then one example of being able to send it out to the students straight from here itself. So let's just zip through and jump onto this one here. So this board that I'm looking at the moment is the RX board. And it is across the range here, across whichever way you want to do it. Price point that hopefully is right for you. Again, that's when Crusader can support you with quotes, support you with actually the fitting of the product as well. But whichever meeting your needs, Smart have got there something for you. Whether it is something like the RX and the MX with this built-in Android that we have powered by IQ, or actually I'm just plugging in my laptop, I want to be able to write on anything using Smart Ink and Smart Notebooks, which you don't need a license for if you're using it on a smart board, in there. But one step further, which hopefully you might like, with the RX panel, looking at those learners that maybe can't just come up and write on the board, that actually the tactileness of using an iPad's not quite right for them, but they want to be part of that lesson at the front, and they want to kind of, like, as an example, express their feelings. So on this one here, I think that's great. And then I can use this physical object and make a digital representation of it. Or maybe they've got a bit of a headache at the thought of sore feet or whatever it might be. That can there be all on there. So using cubes like this, or with numbers to kind of help solve maths problems, for example, or even actually put them on with different symbols. So like I'm having hot dinners today or packed lunch, then they can communicate in the way that is right for them, but still in a way that everybody else is doing as well. So again, by design, removing those barriers so everyone can feel included in that lesson or whatever is doing. So kind of a few different ways that RX really kind of goes above and beyond when as well. Equally with the microphones built in as well, that might be able to capture sounds. It might be do live translation to everything as well itself, because there is a built-in Android operating system in here as well. I've got all the great features within the Android of spotlights, the screen recording, adding clocks, timers, spinners. There's the sensors in this one as well, so actually you can see, again, what's the temperature of this? What's the humidity in that room? Is that right for everybody? Being part of that straight from on the board. Jump back into that one lesson here and go to the previous page. So again, time-wise, I was thinking, which one should I focus on? So I kind of came up with lots of ideas. In fact, I didn't come up with them. I'll go into a moment about some research that we did, why I've landed on some of these ones here. But something like Immersive Reader that we've looked at already was one of the key ones I wanted to have. It might be the fact that we can have graphic organizers. So straight from within the board, I can add in, I'm going to pick a side one, I can add in all of these graphic organizers that are based in education, based on supporting your learners, but it might just be something like this one here. The fact that, I know where we are, I've got an order to my thoughts, it's not just a complete brain dump, if you like. I've got that mind map to help structure it, which then supports a lot of learners. So it can just be basic things like that, not necessarily the cubes. Continuing on the other way. Other ones on here, voice to text. If I click on the right bit, voice to text, if I've got the microphones in there, I can have that. That can be dictated equally within Lumio. I can send those out. They can be dictated into there as well. Digital manipulatives, just zooming it in and out, and that natural collaboration so that one can be moving, one can be writing, all rubbing out, all at the same time. Just as simple as that is very unique to Smart, but it means that any learner can come up and write on this, whichever way they want to, and actually engage with that content without the technology, not having to think about it, that because we've thought about that by design, it's in smart boards. So just to kind of, why have we landed on these things here? That's really because we've done the research. Or should I say we haven't, it's the University of Melbourne. So look, we were looking at kind of what should we do? How can we make these products the best for the classroom, the best for the learners? And that's when we spoke with the Melbourne University, the University of Melbourne, and they were looking to do a study. So we worked with them to kind of get the kind of evidence out of it, looking at neurodiverse learners and saying, well, rather than speaking to schools, let's speak to the learner. And it appears that there's only about 1% of the research that's focused on the learner, hence why we liked this project. Speaking to the learner, what about technology worked for you? What would help you to have a better classroom, to be a more inclusive classroom? They did their research. I've put my email address, and also I've covered it up. I've put my email address here. Obviously, you can pause the recording or see it now. Feel free to contact me. I can send you the link directly to that, or just Google it yourself, and it is out there. Looking at this research, how does it help? Massive piece of research. I saw the slight irony that how do we help the dyslexic person, and then you produce a 120-page document. So yeah, I summarized it, and luckily that's again where we've taken that research, looked at it for a classroom. Right, here are the 36 recommendations of, if you do this, you will support the neurodiverse learner. And hey presto, the research also said, if you do this, you're not going to support them, you're going to support everybody else as well. And that's where but we are designing our products to support all. And then there are additional parts, bits and pieces on top of it as well, where there are certain learners that need something bespoke for them. And how can we go above and beyond to support them as well? And that's where we are looking at extra bits and pieces from that as well, within it as well as microphones and utilizing the speakers, etc. So like I said, that research, my name's just gone off the edge, there we go. That research is available. It's free to get out there, and that's where that's where I got all of those previous ones beforehand, straight from that research to kind of support you and ultimately the learners. So as we kind of come to a bit of a close here, I'm just going to bring this slide up as we had at the beginning. Let's just move that toolbar out of the way. And it's just to kind of come back to these bits and pieces here. Why smart? We are here to support you. We are here to support the learners and make this product not just a product, that it's a learning tool, a resource for you as well. Whether that be making sure that it's engaged and they can be part of it, kind of from up here itself, whether it is really that interaction for all, so everyone can come and interact with this content as well. Something that's really close to my heart is that adoption. Being a former teacher myself and seeing this product being used in different ways, how can I be of support for you? And that's something that I can offer kind of as a remote session. Or of course, if you want to get in touch with Crusader, they can support you with a package where we can come out to school and kind of plan that long-term journey with that as well. And then this, again, another one, make it simple, that I can just come up and write on anything. If I'm plugging in my laptop as well, I can just pick up and write on my PowerPoints, my PDFs, whatever it might be, and utilize my computer rather than having to rely on the Android itself. And then I can have that simple workflow for myself. Education content. And then another one here, slightly different to what we've referred to as Dell today, but with a remote management. So all these devices can be managed to be simple terms, let's just turn them all off when we go home. Or I'm actually deploying content, making sure they're right, or just locking them down so they can't be used in different ways as that as well. So bit of a quick overview of the boards, looking at the content of them. If you want to know more and actually have that more of the formal demo, or if you've got smart boards already and you want to know more about training, obviously contact Crusader. They can support you with pricing, with installation, with all that great service that they offer. Or of course, contact me directly, Mark Hartwright at smarttech.com, and I'm more than happy to have that conversation with yourselves as well. So thanks very much for your time, and I'll hand it back to Crusader, and they can kind of offer that, say hello as well.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Excuse me. We have had a question coming in, Mark. Probably you can't see it where you stood, which is about the iPad solution and the dice. Will they work with the NX range?
Yes, good question. I've just seen it come up on here. So the NX range is a non-touch board. So in that way, I can project or use it as digital signage, anything from that board. So in that case, if I was using my iPad with Lumio on here and mirroring it to the board, yes, because I'd be driving it from here. And then that's just offers as a monitor, as a second screen.
Okay, thank you for that. There's one other question I actually have as well, which is you showed the text to translation or the voice to translation. If a student is using their own, say, iPad or tablet, can they then choose the language which it will translate to on their tablet, or is it purely driven from the screen?
Absolutely, they can. Yes, when I've had Immersive Reader, which I think I can only do for my, let's just choose a better page when I've got a bit more text on it. Let's just go back up to here for now. So here I've got my screen mirrored on here. I could also put it on student pacing so I can move up and down by myself rather than relying on the teacher. But in this case here, if I click on that Immersive Reader, this is then translated for this device. So I can click on the side, translate. I can have this in Burmese. Pick some random ones this afternoon. I've then got that here, and that is completely different to everybody else. Equally, each learner can translate this into their own thing. Does that make sense?
It does. Does that rely upon the language pack being on the device, though?
No, so it relies on Microsoft's Immersive Reader.
Okay.
So I'm yet to find a language that isn't. When I go into schools and do training, I say, pick a language. And I've had a few like, wow, it's even got. I haven't come across one that it's not got yet. Now, it is a Microsoft product. It hasn't got every language, but just by the kind of, you can see here that there's a long list of a lot. It's probably got it.
Okay. That's wonderful. Thank you. I would like to thank you very much, Mark, for your time and for your presentation. I'd like to thank everybody for coming along and attending. We've hoped that you've enjoyed it. The presentation will be on our blog site very shortly. We'll be sending a link out to everybody. So if you would like to review or go back to a certain part, or even share it with your colleagues, then you're very, very welcome to. I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and I wish you a good rest of your afternoon.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Take care. Hope to speak to you soon, and thanks everyone for hosting as well.